The Stag Raw podcast is brought to you by Kane's Deer Velvet. The best way to support the podcast is by checking out the links in the show notes. Often we happily spend money on maintaining our vehicles, homes, and of course hunting gear, but more reluctant to do so on our own bodies. While diet, exercise, and clean living can go so far, our bodies sometimes can't keep up with demands, and then injuries, aches, and pains tend to become increasingly troublesome. This is because some of the vital nutrients the body uses to maintain our joints and general well-being have become depleted. On the flip side, it's astounding how well the body heals when it has what it needs. With Kane's Deer Velvet on board, the body is refueled with amazing nutrients it uses in maintaining the immune system, bones, joints, circulation, and general well-being. With the tank topped up, it can get on with magic of healing and restoration. Find out more at www.canesdeervelvet.com and use the code STAGRAW252 for an introductory 20% discount. You're back, or you're joining us. Either way, this is number 5 of the 200 Club of the Rusa trophies, part of the Stag Raw podcast. This one was shot by D.Bruce Dawson in the Ohane stream 1973. That's part of the Whakatane River. Length is 33 and 3 by 33 and 2. 22 and 4/8 spread, 14 and 7/8 span. The beams are 4 and 3 by 4 and 1. The coronets are 7 and 4 by 8. So the brow tine is 11 inches long on both sides. The inner is 17 and 5 by 16 and 7, and the outer is 10 and 7 by 10 and 6. So a total of 204 and 3/8. This fine trophy was taken during the August-September period while Dawson was shooting in the Whakatane River catchment for the Forest Service. On the day in question, Dawson left the Ohane hut and walked downstream where the Whakapiki stream meets the Ohane. They followed the Waikare Whenua track until he had gained sufficient height to enable him to sidle back along the south faces of the Ohane. Moving quietly up a spur, he looked out across a small grass-covered gut amongst some manuka. On 3 previous occasions he had flushed a large Rusa stag, which had broken each time from the same spot and dashed across the gut before passing through a gap in the forest about 50 metres further on. That sounds very similar to a story Paul Michaels was telling. I told you about that podcast in the first episode. Anyway, go over to his podcast, Paul Michaels, and hear them tell some great yarns about Rusa. This time, Dawson was determined to outwit his quarry. If he performed the same way once again, as Dawson arrived in the usual spot armed with his .270, the stag did just that. But on this occasion, Dawson ignored the grass cut, waiting for him to reach where the gap in the trees, and then pulled the trigger when the stag arrived at this point. When Dawson reached the spot, there was a blood trail heading downhill into thick cover, but no dead stag. After some extensive searching, he was forced to reluctantly give up. Disappointed, Dawson returned to the Ohane hut, packed up his gear, and set off for another area. About 2 weeks later, while packing supplies into his camp in the Whakatane River, he and a companion, Dennis Foot, stumbled on the body of the stag near the track, immediately below where Dawson had shot him. How good, well deserved. Good on you, Bruce. And Dennis Foot. 204 and 3/8. Outsmarted, I guess, and quite lucky to retrieve. Anyway, this one's a real munter. Gary Winchcombe's Hanamahihi clearings from 1967. Join us on the Stag Raw podcast for that, coming up soon. This series of the Big Game Records is from Volume 4, the Rusa, Sambar and Whitetail, written and compiled for the New Zealand Deer Stalkers Association Incorporated by D.Bruce Banwell. It was published by the Halcyon Press, a division of Halcyon Publishing Limited. Copyright D.Bruce Banwell 2006, first published 2006, all rights reserved.